Origins of the Cold War, 1945 to 1949. At the end of the Second World War in 1945, the world had changed. Two countries stood out as superpowers, the United States of America and the Soviet Union. They had been allies against Hitler, but they believed in very different systems. The USA was capitalist. Businesses were mostly privately owned and people were encouraged to make profit. The USSR was communist. The state controlled most industry, and the government claimed it was creating a more equal society. Each side thought its own way was best. In 1945, leaders from Britain, the USA, and the USSR met at the Yalta and Potsdam conferences to decide what should happen after the war. They agreed on some things, such as dividing Germany into zones, but there were big disagreements about the future of Eastern Europe. The Soviets wanted friendly communist governments to protect their borders. However, the Americans and British wanted free elections and democracy. Over the next few years, the Soviet Union increased its control over countries in Eastern Europe, such as Poland, Hungary, and later East Germany. These countries became communist and loyal to Moscow. Winston Churchill said that an iron curtain had fallen across Europe, separating the communist East from the capitalist West. Berlin, the old German capital, became a major flashpoint. It lay deep inside the Soviet zone, but it was also divided into Western and Soviet sectors. In 1948, Stalin tried to force the Western powers out of Berlin by blocking all roads, railways, and canals into West Berlin. Food and fuel could no longer arrive by land. The USA and its allies responded with the Berlin Airlift. For 11 months, planes flew in supplies every day, landing at West Berlin's airports. Despite difficulties and danger, they kept the city going. In 1949, Stalin ended the blockade. The crisis showed that neither side was willing to back down easily, and the period of tension that followed became known as the Cold War. It was called the Cold War because the USA and USSR never fought each other directly in a major war, but they threatened each other, competed for influence, and supported conflicts in other countries.